2000, we bought an abandoned 100-acre farm in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We spent years cleaning it up, built a new house, and now are trying to make it a functional homestead farm. Welcome to Red Toolhouse.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Red Toolhouse. In this video I want to talk about angry pigs. In this video I want to talk about a kind of a common misconception that you hear all the time when talking about homesteading, and some of you that homestead right now may hear this as well. So what is that common misconception? Well, when I talk to people about what we do, homesteading, raising the animals, raising our own food, people are like, oh wow, yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you know where your food comes from. You've had a hand in raising it yourself. You're more self-reliant. I like all that, but I really like to go on vacation. And I think, well, yeah, so do I. But I think that's kind of the common misconception. And some of you that may be just starting your homestead think, okay, I'm going to do this. I have to put away all these other things. I can't go on vacation. I can't enjoy time away from the homestead. I can't do any of those things because I'm going to be anchored down. Well, here's some tips of things that you can do to keep from being anchored down. Well, the first thing I think of, obviously, with homesteading and when it comes to vacations is you're going to have to plan. You're going to have a schedule figured out. So let's say your homesteading incorporates a large element of gardening. Maybe you're even doing some market gardening to help pay for your homesteading costs. Maybe you just obviously want to put up a lot of food from your garden. So you got to be ready when that food's ripe. You got to be ready to can it. You got to be ready to preserve it when that time comes. So granted, yeah, you don't want to be at the beach for 2 weeks when it's time to pick all your tomatoes. So it just comes down to scheduling. Say, well, if I'm going to plant stuff at this time, when's it going to be ready? And let's schedule a vacation around that. So just schedule your vacation. Say, okay, if my growing season's this time, maybe you do a fall vacation, maybe do a spring vacation before you've got plants in the ground. Or maybe you just schedule a time in between. The plants are in the ground. We're going to go on this trip and we'll be back in time before they need to be tended again. Now, obviously, there's always risk with leaving and not having some oversight there. But, you know, maybe some less risky times when it comes to your garden. Now, what about animals? Now, obviously, animals, they need tending on a regular basis. So how do you handle that? Well, we've got a system of things that we've put in, and you've seen some of these in previous videos that really help us not being anchored to the homestead in case we need to go somewhere or want to go somewhere for a short vacation. Well, the first thing, of course, is our feeder systems. So with the pigs, of course, during the time that we have a lot of pigs on property right now, this is just our breeding sows, then I have the 2-ton feeder. You all have seen that in some of the videos. Yeah, that's something that I can load up to 2 tons of feed into the feeder, and it'll sustain them. Depending on the number of swine I have in my herd, I can sometimes get up to 10 days out of that with a 2-ton feeder. So that's something fortunately on our homestead, they have access to water 24/7 because we have streams that come through. So food and water are taken care of for up to 10 days. So I could literally load that up and be good to go. Now granted, you know, there's always things that can happen. Fence could go down, electric could go out, but majority of the time we could safely leave the pigs and they have food and water, things they need to survive. Obviously they've got shelter they can access. So what about our chickens? Well, same with the chickens. I took the time to build a larger feeder, so I can put 150 pounds of feed in there, and that'll get me about 6 days with those chickens. Just depends on how crazy they get and sling it all over the place. So they have feed, that's not a problem. Water, you've seen the video where we did our gravity feed water catchment. So the water coming off the chicken coop goes into a 55-gallon drum, of course goes down to a bell water, and that now can go as long as 30 days. We've gone up to 30 days without having to refill that, or actually this year that went indefinitely because we had such a rainy summer. I didn't have to top it off any at all this last year, the summer of 2017. So that really helped out as far as taking care of the chickens. So, you know, really the food and the water are 2 big things, and we have that taken care of. Now, when it comes to security, obviously the pig security, they've got the electric fence, not really worried about predation in that situation. With the chickens, you know, what really anchors people down to a homestead is, when it comes to chickens, is opening and closing that door. So letting the chickens out in the morning, making sure they're closed up and safe at night. So again, what we did, if you go back and look at the video where we used our automatic door, we built a solar-powered automatic door based on some plans, and that has really helped. That's worked out well, still works fine, no issues, no changes we had to make to that. But that door automatically opens in the morning and automatically closes after dark. So what's the number one thing that I'd say would help if you want to be able to take a vacation? Well, we've kind of talked about this a bit when it comes to neighbors. And I can't stress enough that we as homesteaders, even though we like to kind of be tucked away and be alone, like to be doing stuff on our own, we still need community. We still need to have some relationship with other people outside of our homestead. And that's what's worked out well for us. We've had great neighbors. We still have great neighbors. We've talked about it before. But when it comes time for us to go on vacation, if we want to take a week off and go somewhere, we've got some neighbors just up the road that love to come down and feed our animals. So, we've got Kim and we've got Savannah. They come down and take care of our pigs for us. They take care of our chickens, keep an eye on those. And it works out great. So how do you do that? If you don't have neighbors that are already doing that for you, how do you reach out? Well, first of all, you need to have a relationship with your neighbor, of course. If you've never said hi to them, you don't even wave to them when you drive by, then you got to break the ice there. But if you get to know your neighbors and get to have these relationships, if you've got chickens, take in some eggs. If you raise pork or you raise beef or you raise poultry for meat, take them some cuts, give them something there. Just let them know, hey, I'm your neighbor, I want to be neighborly, and kind of prime the pump there. But what works out great with Kim and Savannah, they have horses, they have goats, their family, they have those experiences as well, so they're not afraid to be around animals. But what we do for them is Savannah is a teenager, so we obviously pay Savannah so she gets a little extra cash there for coming down and doing that. So you want to factor that into your vacation budget. But then for Kim, as the mom of the house, we give her all the eggs she wants. So if she's watching the chickens for a week, with 80-some chickens, she could have a plethora of eggs. So she becomes the egg lady for a week and is brimming full of eggs. So there's really good options there with your neighbors to look and say, okay, yes, we're gonna budget some money. We're going to budget some giving away some product in exchange for having responsible people watch your livestock, watch your farm, watch your homestead while you're gone. And that way you have that peace of mind to say, hey, we do want to take the family away and do get a vacation. I strongly recommend don't set your family down and say, we're going to start homesteading now and you can kiss vacations goodbye. Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore, because I think you can have the best of both worlds. To me, I'm the kind of guy that a vacation to me is staying here on the homestead for weeks at a time, not leaving, not doing anything. That to me is the ideal vacation. My boys and my wife, not so much. They like to say, hey, we like to stick our toes in the sand sometimes, or we want to go to the mountains. We want to do these type of things. So I'm fine with that as well. It's that good balance. You don't want to force your family into a certain spot with homesteading where it becomes an issue, it becomes a task, it becomes a chore, it becomes a burden. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of homestead families kind of split up and go their ways. Kids, when they get old enough to get out of the house, they're gone. They don't have anything to do with it. So look at that. That's an opportunity there to say, homesteading doesn't mean you forfeit your vacation. There's just certain things that you can put in place to help. So automated systems with your feeders and your waters, automated systems when it comes to security, and then an oversight provided by a trustworthy neighbor that you obviously compensate with either money or products. So it's a great, all those are good opportunities. One more point I want to make about your neighbors. If you're going to have them watch your animals, be implicit in what you would like them to do or what you expect them to do. Kim and Savannah come here at different times of the year. There may be different things at hand. We may have more chickens than we used to. We may have chicks. We may have piglets. We may have a different situation. So Kelly does a good job of making a list and say, hey, Kim, Savannah, here's what we'd like you to do. Here's a list of stuff that needs to be done. And here's where you can find everything. Don't make it a search party. Don't make it I got to figure out how to do this. Troy said to make sure to do this, but he didn't leave me any instructions on how to actually do that. Hey, look. Hey! Y'all, settle down. So make sure those plans are implicit. That detailed steps, this is where you find that. Like, here's our feed lockers. This is where you come get the feed for the pigs. This is where you come get the feeds for the chickens. This is where we even leave egg cartons in the garage. So when Kim's collecting eggs, she has cartons to put eggs into. So those are the type of things. Make it easy for your neighbor. Make it a good experience for them. They'd be more than happy to come back and do it again. And that way you've got that great balance. You can spend all the time you want at your homestead. But if you have to keep some other people happy, let them stick their toes in the sand or do some other things, then you got things in place to make that a reality. Well, I hope this is helpful to some of you all. Appreciate everyone watching. Really appreciate all the great comments about, we're talking about our neighbor Charlie. Really means a lot to us, really means a lot to his family as well. They saw the video, and while we miss him greatly, and his family is obviously still mourning his loss, it's great to have positive comments. So appreciate the community that's based around our channel and the homesteading group in general, and really appreciate it. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. And be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Red Tool House. All right, take care, everybody.